Quick Takes with Ed Masterson.
When do you recommend integrated amps versus circuits?
There's a couple different situations. Pretty common is budget, but there's occasionally a situation where form factor, the physical size of the piece, is a consideration. Maybe there's a space limitation.
Oh, okay, in the room.
Okay, yeah. So maybe they want to keep it really clean. And, from a budget standpoint, an integrated amp, it combines, you get rid of, you're not paying for two chassis,
Right.
typically. And so you save on a bunch of the case work. A lot of times they start to share some power supply, that kind of thing, so maybe you're saving on some power supplies. You also save, on a better system it can be significant, and that is a pair of interconnects going between the preamp and the amp. So quite a bit of cost reduction. And when you combine a preamp and amp into one box, you can eliminate some circuitry that's required when you're going to leaving one box and going to another, and it might not be the box you expect, so to speak. I mean, it could be different companies' amplifier, and maybe the impedance would be different. So anyway, they typically put buffer circuitry on the inputs and outputs of these things, and if you go integrated, you're able to get rid of that. And so sonically, there's even a little bit of an advantage in some regards to doing that. So cost is a major, kind of a major consideration. Typically, you can get into an integrated amp at, 2/3 of the cost of the separates. So if you were to buy the separate amp and preamp, an integrated amp it's not half, but maybe 2/3 the price of the two separate pieces. There are limitations that way. You start to lose some connectivity options. With some integrated amps, they still give you pre-outs so that you can add an external amplifier or an external subwoofer. And they retain some of the flexibility of the separate pieces. Not always. Some of the pieces get rid of some of that, and so you've got to be careful, and depending on how you're going to use the integrated amp to make sure it's going to work. That said, there's definitely, it's a good way to get into a higher end piece, at a reasonable price point, and get a lot better sound. It's a very popular thing I do, where somebody says, well, I want to do surround sound, but music is the most important to get, obviously, because it gets used the most typically. So I'll start somebody out with a 2-channel system with a nice quality integrated amplifier that has good amp in it that'll last them, a lifetime, so to speak, if that's what they want. Something can drive just about any pair of speakers. And then later they can add a theater system to it that allows them to use that amplification part within the theater application. And so you have a 2-channel system that's sort of cascaded through from the theater. And so it allows people to take steps and keep their 2-channel at a higher performance level, so to speak.
Well, I mean, you have
I do that with separates also.
kind of a hybrid system here.
This room is, it's definitely, it's a ultra high performance 2-channel system with all separates, and that's integrated into a theater system that's combined with several separates. I do have a 3-channel amplifier. That could be 3 monoblocks. That would be less integrated. But again, space becomes a factor. I'm not sure I'd put 3 monoblocks.
Please subscribe, like, and comment. Thank you for watching.